Here. Oh man. All right. So welcome. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for rocking with me.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
man.
saying? This is my actual second. If you didn't know, this is my second episode of Straight Off the Basement. We're out of the basement. We was doing DMV the basement, but now we're mobile with it. We wanted to get out of the DMV and still highlight the people of the DMV, but make it a little more global. So welcome. You know what I'm saying? Got my man Glen Ave right here.
So what's up? What's
Yeah,
up, man?
yeah. So tell me about yourself. Where you from?
Well, I'm from Maryland in the Bowie area. My family's from El Salvador, Nicaragua, and yeah, that's where I'm from, Latino.
Word. So have you
Yeah.
ever been there?
I actually been to El Salvador when I was like around like 7. And that was kind of interesting because I guess my age at the time, I wasn't really, how can I say, like, I didn't appreciate it as much,
Mm-hmm.
And as I got older and everything, I do want to go back and see it and everything. I haven't been back since. Mainly, I go to my family in Costa Rica more than anything. And
Okay.
that's where I've been at more. Yeah.
Okay. So you grew up in PG County?
Yeah.
In Bowie?
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I live in Bowie, but I actually grew up in Langley Park.
Okay.
Mainly, yeah.
Okay.
That was like majority of my childhood.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the correlation between Glen Ave and your stage name?
Oh well, my stage name is actually placed in my music, but Glen Ave was something that like I felt like it's my street name where I live, but like it was something that I thought to myself like it was the time where I felt like I was taking music more seriously,
Mm-hmm.
And
You're not taking music seriously?
No, I am, but it's like when I moved out here in Glen Ave, that's when I set up my studio and everything, and I felt like I was doing more,
Okay.
and I felt like this was like my base, so I was like, oh, okay, this is the Glen Ave basement,
Mm-hmm.
and I started having like different artists coming in and like vibe and all that, and that's how the whole Glen Ave became to be, and like it became more of a like uh, a community than just like one person,
Mm-hmm.
But like my actual stage name is Place, but like the idea of the name to me didn't really matter when it came to my stage name because I was always about a message more than the name having a meaning,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's the idea of like it's just Place, it's irrelevant what my name is. I'm mainly focused on what the message I'm bringing in my music.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
So it's basically just the base,
Yeah, it's just the
like
base.
kind of where you got started.
Yeah, it's just where I started.
Word.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about your background in music. So when did you start doing music?
Well, I got into music when I was like probably like around 10, but like I was mainly like in band. I was playing the saxophone at the time,
Mm-hmm.
And during those years, I thought to myself I was going to be a music teacher, you know. And as I got older and as I started writing poetry more and more, I had an English teacher in the 10th grade, and she was telling me how like I should like integrate my music, my poems into music, and she was like really big on like Tupac, Biggie, and stuff like that, and we like would always discuss back and forth on their lyrics and stuff. And then around the 11th grade, they were telling me to like perform in front of the whole school, and I was nervous, and I was like, I never perform anything. I just kind of just write and this and that and the other, and I ended up getting the courage to do it. And I felt like at that moment of like doing that first performance, it woken something in me and
Mm-hmm.
told myself like I want to do this for the rest of my life,
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I started writing and wanted to like engineer because I wanted to understand that part of the aspect of making music as well. Because I wanted to make a sound for myself and not someone try to tell me what my sound was.
Okay.
So then that's when I went to school for that, you know. And then when I figured out my own sound and I started doing my own sound, you know, I also told myself like, oh, I want to make visuals for myself, and I started doing that, you know. And I was just trying to like be this one shot because I never wanted to rely on somebody and making my vision happen,
Right.
you know. So in doing that, the only person that's ever holding me back is only me now, you know. At that point. So yeah, that's where my background in music.
Okay,
flourished.
so well, getting into you starting to go to school for it. So before I even get into that, do you play any other instrument other than saxophone?
No.
You still play the saxophone?
I haven't played it in like maybe like 3 years now.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little rusted on that.
Okay.
You know, I'll say like piano. Mainly I know the notes and everything, and I can play them. The only thing is like it's not fluid.
Mhm.
For some reason, my hands don't like flow with the keys, so I'm just like I can just like go 1 2 1 2, and then just compose it in like, you know, Pro Tools or Logic or something like that.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to school for engineering,
for
audio
engineering. Yeah.
Okay, so how was that experience?
That experience, it was interesting because I
mean, granted, we went to the same school, you
yeah.
know what I mean? But I just want you to get the viewership to understand, like,
I think,
you know, the background.
I think, like, going to school, when you don't know anything at all, there's a lot of benefits to it, you know? There's things that they can open your mind to. But then after a while, I started seeing myself, like, learning on my own more than being taught, you know? And then I also started noticing that, like, music is really biased. You know, people have their own tastes, and it's hard for a professor to tell you that, like, oh, the band you pick isn't good because the song isn't good, you know. And it's like an awkward feeling because in your mind it should never be what the music is. It should be mainly on like what it sounds like and how, like, you know, the mixes and all that. And I felt like going to school, at a certain point I grew out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I was teaching myself. And I think when it comes down to like this industry, like in audio, film, and all that, you can learn as much as you can, but at a certain point, you just gotta have to do it yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's another transition into where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like people should go to school just solely based on your experience? Because like you had your program specifically had like a really low graduation rate. It was like
it was super low.
20% or something like that.
It was about like I said like it was about like 20%. I'll say
so you had to really fight to get
it. And especially like we were also losing like professors left and right as well. That wasn't helping. So there were certain like classes we couldn't take either.
Okay.
You know, but like I'll say to anybody like who's thinking about going to like, you know, art school to do audio engineering or just film in general, ask yourself how much, you know, help do you need in the knowledge of knowing the background. You know, if you feel like you don't know anything and you need guidance, go to school. You know, you'll find some of that guidance in it, you know. And you also will find people along the way who have the same passion.
Right.
And
it's always good to have that network.
You know,
that's the only thing that I feel like I really got out of it.
Yeah, you know, and I think that's the bigger thing. It's not the education in itself. I think it's the network and the people that you connect with, because you guys are passionate about the same thing, you know?
Especially if you go to a school based on that field. I feel like it was a unique experience because, you know, you met with artists who had some of the same degrees of knowledge that you had, and you learned together, and y'all could build from that point on and work on projects collectively.
Yeah, you know, and I think that right there is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's probably where it makes it more worth it than anything. If you're gonna go to school, don't go to school and just say to yourself that oh, I'm gonna go to class, do my work, go home, go to class, do my work. You have to talk to people.
Yeah.
You have to network because that's the only way you're gonna get anything out of it.
And don't go to Howard for
Yeah.
a degree in musical education. Like it might be lit, but you're not necessarily.
Yeah, you're
gonna
not
get
necessarily getting there because like a lot of people there, they're going for different things, you know, and you're not gonna find the same people that you will find in an art school that like that's the only thing they're dedicated to.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's something about going to something that's dedicated to a certain thing than like going to a place that's like so big and everybody does multiple things.
Right.
You know.
Okay, so like your music is mostly, how would you describe it?
It's mostly it's mainly hip hop. You know.
Mainly hip hop.
Yeah.
So how is that for you as a Latino person being in a mostly black county and industry?
Yeah.
That's locally just majority.
I think it's a little interesting, especially when like I do like performances and stuff like that, because not a lot of people are expecting the sound that I make in my
You're
music.
really dope, just by the way. Just like I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, and it's funny because like I know, especially being a Latino that's actually super light skinned. You know, people have a different perspective what kind of music I would make and stuff like that, and it's interesting to like after my set how people react towards the music that they heard from me, and they're like, oh, I didn't think you were gonna sound like this, oh, I didn't think your music would have been like this and this and that and the other, and I think it's I pride myself on that, because like I'm not afraid to like to be like, oh yeah, you're not expecting something out of me, and here's me proving you wrong that like I do have something, and yeah, I mean it's interesting mainly, it's just super interesting. I don't really have anything added to that.
What would be like the hardest part other than somebody assuming that you don't have or they expect your music to sound one type of way?
Oh, well, I think the hardest thing is like when like people try to book me for performances, right? And the bill and the venue is more like a bar setting, a club setting and stuff like that, and they want me to perform, and I think that's where it's like a little more difficult because my music doesn't fit club.
They're more like traditionalist hip hop in my opinion. It's more like the people who want to hear rap and not necessarily just something that's gonna make people jump up and down.
Yeah, so I think that's where like it comes a little difficult for me because I'm hearing everybody going up and all that, and it's high energy, and and I love that, but it's like also like I'm not that high energy in my music. I can perform as much as I can high energy, but it's like, I'm figuring that out, of like how to make sure that like everybody still is having a good time and the vibe is exactly the same, with the music I make, and I think I try to like learn that from like, like artists that like I look up to and artists that I've seen, perform. Like when I heard like J. Cole's albums, he's so smooth, jazzy with his music, and so storytelling. But like when I see him live, there's like a hunger and like an upbeat to it, but it's the way he like
I've never seen him perform live.
Yeah.
I'm actually, and I hear so many things. I'm gonna go see one this year.
Yeah,
and
it's
Cole show this year.
And I think it's just like it's interesting, like to see somebody whose music is so calm, but like he delivers it so differently when he's live.
Okay.
And that's something I want to know how to do. It's something I'm trying to get towards. Because I think that's just my biggest challenge, trying to compete with people's energy in the music.
Yeah.
It's not mainly on like what kind of like hip hop you make. It's just can you match these people's energy? Because a lot of people can make crap music, but like their performance is like so, you know, captivating, you know, that you just like, man, I'm just having a blast, you know,
Right.
and like that's something I want to convey as well, not just having, you know, be able to like make lyrics and like say something meaningful, but
You're
also
performing
like,
outside of the booth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I want to overcome.
Okay. So on to, let's say, other artists from the area. Is there anybody in particular you want to write, do songs with or collaborate with in some sorts, whether it's shoot a video or, you know, just produce for them, so on and so forth, that you kind of like have your eye on?
There's definitely a lot of different artists. That especially since I go to like different like showcases and stuff like that, and I'm listening to people do their music and everything. There's not like one in particular. There's like just multiple, just because like they have a certain sound that that I say like, oh, I can see us do this type of music. I can see us do that type of music. You know? Because that's how I kind of like do with like when it comes to features. I don't like take somebody that I think like has a whole bunch of like following and try to get that feature. My idea is like, do they fit the sound I want, you know, and stuff like that, and can they bring something added to the music? So like, you know, like there was this one artist that I did a song with, Liqui, you know, and she has like this very jazzy singing voice, you know, and we ended up doing one track, but like I also want to do multiple tracks like that.
Right.
You know, there's a guy named Hitman, you know, and he can rap, produce, and sing, you know, and all these different things, and his mind is weird. And
as most artists are.
Yeah, you know, and like it's just like when we do something together, you know, like when we're around each other, like I'll be like, damn, if we made a song together, you know, maybe it would just be like super everywhere.
Yeah.
And I want to hear that, you know? So it's like that, you know? So it's just not like one particular artist. It's just kind of like what sound I'm gravitating towards at the moment and saying to myself like, all right, let me work with this artist to make that sound. Let me work with that artist to make that sound. But like, there's a lot of talent here. It's crazy how much talent is in this area. You know?
Yeah, I feel like between this year and next year, they'll eventually give this area its I guess due credit. Like we're kind of popping right now, and
you know, because like we have GoldLink.
I mean, you got hella people: GoldLink, Shy Glizzy, Q the Fool, Rico Nasty, JIDK.
Yeah, and he was actually
Chaz French.
Stays in this area.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah.
You
know, and everything. So like, it's a lot of them.
Who was that? JIDK.
JIDK. Yeah, he lived like 7 minutes away from here.
Okay.
Yeah. You
ever work with him?
I actually brought him here, you know, and we sat down, talked about music, and this is before like he made his tour with ASAP Ferg. And ASAP Ferg's that tour, I believe, kind of like solidified him a lot more, because after that he moved to LA, you know, and stuff like that, you know. But like the way his mind worked and how like he wanted to promote himself and stuff like that is it's interesting, you know. The idea of like, you know, wanted to take ignorant music and make it, you know, meaningful at the same time, you know. And yeah, I think the man is dope, and you know, he's doing a lot now. The man is hard worker.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know, I think we can call it a day. I appreciate you. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, man.
Thanks for coming through.
This is definitely cool.
Yeah, I thank all the viewership for tuning in. Now we tuning out.